Joseph's life, it read like a tale of two cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It just didn't happen simultaneously. The good seemed to run head on into the bad. And honestly, most of the messes of Joseph's life were not the result of his poor decisions or bad behavior. They were the result of other people. I mean, young kid, he's got a coat of many colors. Daddy, Jacob, dotes over him. He's got these dreams of a destiny and plans God has for his life. Life is good, and then his brothers throw him in a pit and sell him as a slave. Boom. He's bought on the auction block in Egypt by Potiphar. And before he knows it, he is put in charge of all of Potiphar's business because everything he touches seems to succeed. That was going well until Potiphar's wife accused him of something he didn't do. Wrongfully accused, unjustly imprisoned, he finds himself in prison, in chains once again. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. While in the prison, he's elevated to be in charge of the prison. Wow, now it's the best of times again. Talked about last week, he encountered a baker and a cupbearer and their story and how he interpreted their dreams. And he's called before the king to interpret the king's dreams. Now, I wonder if he thought, is this going to be good or bad? Because some not so good things happen to people who don't tell the king or Pharaoh what he wants to hear. Called before the king, and he tells the king, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is, next 7 years are going to be awesome. There'll be plenty. But after that, there's going to be 7 years of not so good. Lots of poverty. He went from the pit to a place of prominence to prison to good news, bad news, plenty and poverty, to now life in the palace. Life in the palace. Ups and downs, twists and turns, peaks and valleys. The journey that Joseph's life had taken was not easy, but he finds himself in the palace. In many ways, Joseph was a victim of unfair treatment by others. And in many ways, Joseph's circumstances were dictated to him. And his life seemed like it was completely out of control. Oh God, what a mess. But he trusted that God had a plan. God had something better in store, and store for him. And we read over and over again throughout this story of Joseph, the ups and downs, the best of times, the worst of times. We read over and over again that God was with Joseph. God was with Joseph in the midst of the mess. It was good news for Joseph, and it's good news for us. God is with us in the midst of the mess.